I'm Janice Edwards. Coming up on Bay Area Vista, we're on location at Bissap Baobab where DJ Makayla V is in the house. The party's about to start and we'll talk with her about her life and her career. She's also known as Makayla Davis, and we are going to have fun. Join us coming up next. Plus today, award-winning actress Viola Davis gives words of inspiration at the Watermark Conference in Silicon Valley.
Bay Area Vista, Vista. Bay Area, Bay Area Vista, Vista.
Welcome to Bay Area Vista. I'm Janice Edwards, and we are behind the scenes with Makayla Davis, also known as DJ Makayla V, to talk about her life, her music, and lots more before the party gets started outside. Well, welcome to the show. Nice to see you.
Thank you for having me. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, we wanted to find out more about what's going on in terms of the music scene, but also before we even get there, you're a Bay Area native. So where did you grow up, and what did you think you were going to do when you grew up?
Man, I grew up in Fremont, and I remember saying I was going to be not an anthropologist, but archaeologist.
Okay.
Dig for fossils.
Really?
But
as a little kid, you were 5 years old and you wanted to dig for fossils?
You know what? I think it's because my dad said that, and I thought it was a cool name, so I just went with it. I'm like, yeah, I want to be an archaeologist. But I then realized I was really into like music videos and music in general. I was the only child growing, always, I still am.
Right.
And so music was just always kind of my go-to. So I gravitated to that, just, I didn't even realize it, but it was just,
just something that you loved doing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I'm an only child too, and I know music, theater, those were the things. So growing up, who were some of your favorite artists?
Aaliyah was my favorite. Like, I would actually dance to her music videos in front of the TV. So I was really sad when she died in 2001.
That was a tragedy.
Aaliyah, actually, Biggie was another one.
Oh yeah.
So I was sad about that.
Right. I know that was very sad. But what music? Just that beat just really got to you.
I was into hip hop and R&B.
Right.
I mean, and not so much dance music, but I heard it. Now I'm like really heavily into like dance music.
Right.
That kind of stuff.
But so you loved music growing up, but then you thought archaeologist, and then you wound up leaving the Bay Area. You went to LA, but not for archaeology, for TV. How did that happen?
Yeah, well, okay, so back in those days when I used to watch music videos and stuff, MTV would always have like VJs, like the people introducing the videos and all that stuff. And I remember telling my dad too, and I was like, I want to do that. I didn't know what the name of that job was, but when it came time to figure out what my major was going to be in college, broadcast journalism was the only major they offered that I was like interested in, and that seemed like something I
Where'd you go to college?
Cal State Northridge.
Okay.
In SoCal.
Right.
So I started doing that. I majored in broadcast journalism, and I had like a minor in Pan-African studies.
Just to do that, and then so you started working in TV.
I did. I graduated. I started working at CBS. I was like a page, so I was working with the audience members on all the cool TV shows like So You Think You Can Dance and American Idol and Price is Right.
Wow, you came on down, right?
I was actually there when Bob Barker was in his last days, and
what was that like?
It was mayhem because there were so many people. Like, people were camping out like a week in advance just to make sure they could get on the show before
the transition. Left. Wow. Yeah. What was he like?
Nice. I mean, he'd been doing his job, and it was pretty by the book. His marks, and
He knew what to do, right? Because obviously a veteran of the show. But that's so exciting. I remember my first job in TV, and it was up in the Bay Area. But then being in LA and seeing all those stars must have been a lot of fun.
It was crazy. I saw a lot of people walking through those halls.
Yes.
Yeah.
American Idol too.
Yeah.
So you saw some of the people now who are really big stars were coming up at the time.
Absolutely. I think I was doing the season Sanjaya was on. I don't know if you remember
Sanjaya. I remember Sanjaya.
I was doing that season
Right. And now it's the end of an era in terms of American Idol. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Right. Yeah. So you were doing that, and then how did that evolve into everything else?
Well, I was actually, so from becoming a page, I transitioned into corporate. They actually hired me to work as an assistant and also as the coordinator for, you know, all the TV shows that came on CBS. So my department was the standards and practices department, where we would watch TV pretty much all day. We would watch all of the episodes that were coming out, and the editors in the department would view it, and then they would send me the ratings, and then I would disseminate it out to the company and the TV guide and to whomever else wanted that, syndicated shows, anything. I had all the files.
Right, you had to look at everything and make sure everything was by the books.
That job became really redundant, so I was actually, that whole time I was like coming out of college and doing CBS, I was also on the side, like working in studios, like writing songs. I had friends who were producers, so I was.
What kind of songs did you write?
Like R&B, hip hop. I mean, that was pretty much the beats that they were making. And I remember a producer liked what I wrote, and the next day he like set me in a session with an artist, and I'm like writing a song. I was so nervous. It was because I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, you were in the right place for it. That's where dreams come true, just like that.
Just like that. And so and these people were actually affiliated with the Black Eyed Peas at the time, who were like really big.
Right.
So yeah, it was all a lot going on.
So what happened with the song?
She liked it, she recorded it, and just like many songs, it just is another song. It didn't go anywhere.
What's the name of it?
I don't even remember.
Oh, okay. We can't even look it up. No. Okay. It's like, that's part of the history we're not going to talk about, because we're talking about the present. But I think for a lot of people who have a dream, it's important to hear this, because you wonder, how do you get from thinking you want to do something to actually doing it? Like I always talk about how, I remember when I was 9 years old, I would sit and watch TV and write these stories. And then of course when you get into journalism, you're watching TV many times and writing stories and just looking at copy. So it was preparing you. So all of these things were preparing you.
Yes.
And always music has been a through line in your life.
And it's crazy when I look back at it, but it really has been. I met more people, and I was with this friend of mine, really close friend, and he was actually a musical director for Far East Movement, which was a band, and they were traveling all over the world, and he was traveling with them, and he would invite me to their shows, and one of the band members is a DJ, and so I was like mesmerized by one of his sets one time. I'm like, I want to do this, like this is what I want to do. And then I was watching like an episode of Bravo, and there was this female DJ on there, and I was like, okay, so females are doing this, I gotta figure out how to do this. Like, okay, who do I call, what do I do? So I contacted the only DJ that I knew from college, who I hadn't spoken to in years. I didn't even know if he would remember me. But he was more than happy to come over and help me, showed me how to beat match. And
what is beat match?
Beat match is going from one song to the next.
Okay.
Mixing them.
Okay.
With the tempos and all that stuff. And he dumped 20 gigs of big music off with me and was like, practice. And that's pretty much how I never saw him again.
It sounds like The Wiz or something. Yeah. It's like, bling, here it is. You are anointed to do this. Yeah. Just go for it, right?
That's right.
Wow.
So that's kind of just how it began. I bought equipment and I was just practicing. I would cook breakfast and have my DJ and stuff going on at the same time, so it was like a timing thing.
It's like scramble the eggs,
Yeah,
get the beat.
yeah.
Scramble the eggs,
Yeah.
get the beat, right? Okay, very cool, very cool. So it just developed from there.
Just developed from there.
But how does that take you for, so then you left LA, came back to the Bay Area. Were you, and you said the job had gotten a little monotonous. And so was your dream calling you? Because I think that's a lot of times what happens. I know there are things that won't let you rest. It's like, you've got to do it. And you don't know how you're going to do it, but it's calling you, and it's saying this is part of your purpose in that way. So, and music and doing the beats was part of yours.
Apparently so.
Yeah. So came back to the Bay Area, and how did it go from just doing that and at breakfast to
different
gigs?
Because I knew LA. I was out there for 11 years. I had friends out there. I knew the whole terrain. Come back out here, I mean, I left when I was 17, and this is like right when I started to drive, so I never really drove anywhere besides Fremont.
Okay.
So it was like coming to a whole new land out here in the Bay Area. I wasn't in contact with any of the people I knew originally out here, so it was, I didn't know anybody. And I just slowly infiltrated into the scenes and the people who are doing these things. That Craigslist helped me get to know, meet some people.
Okay. How were your parents? Because a lot of times when people have different dreams, especially when there's that artistic calling, it seems to be that there's more acceptance, but always a concern about the struggle that you may face. How were your parents when you told them, I'm quitting my corporate job at CBS television and I'm coming home to DJ?
Well, if it were up to me, I probably would have quit 2 or 3 years before I did, but my parents were urging me, you better not do anything until you have something else lined up, and so I stuck with it for a little bit longer, but I ended up just quitting. I didn't tell them. I didn't even tell them, not for a while. And I mean, at that point, you just have to kind of accept it.
So what advice do you have for other people who might be going through that transition?
Well, I always say that it's not going to kill you. You will figure it out. You're going to have to figure it out. And, you know, as long as you are positive and proactive about finding work in what you want to do, it will happen.
So during your time in LA, you were in a girl group. What was the name?
It was called DDMC. It stood for DJ, drummer, and MC. So it was 3 ladies. I obviously was the DJ. And we had a female drummer. Her name is Brittany Brooks. She actually was a drummer for CeeLo and Khalees and several other people she's toured with. And the MC was a girl named Liberty Jane, a little Filipino girl. She could spit, like she was really good. And so yeah, we would perform. We actually did like a show at Coachella. We did a show in Kansas City. And we did shows in LA.
Right. How do you see the music scene in Oakland changing in terms of parties, clubs, and all that?
Well, because of rents and, you know, the changing of the demographic a little bit, it's a very mixed crowd now. I mean, you still have your spots where it's predominantly one kind of group, but it's mixed. It's mixing up a lot, and you know, that's just how it goes. Like my party tonight will probably be very mixed with different kinds of people.
Yeah, and certainly we're still reeling. It's hard to believe that Prince is no longer with us. So even though it's not AfroCuba, you're all going to have some Prince songs.
I'm going to have to put some Prince in
there.
Yeah, yeah.
I think that'll be a good thing for people. Well, it's great to talk with you. Can't wait to see you in action. And do you have a motto that you live by or something you can share?
I do. What is that motto? I do. Well, I mean, right now, you can say sky's the limit, or my name, Kayla V, comes from C'est la vie.
Oh, okay. The French,
I'm told
right?
Means that's life.
C'est la vie.
That's life.
That's life.
And that's kind of what's gotten me through things. Like, hey, these things happen.
Right.
You know, make it. What's the next step you're going to do?
Right. Well, Make It Happen was the Mariah Carey song, but C'est la vie is Kayla V's way of saying, this is what life is.
This is my life.
Yes.
Yep.
And enjoy it.
Yep.
Yes. Well, we're enjoying you. Thank you for what you're doing in our Bay Area and beyond to bring us joy and to keep us on the beat.
Yes, absolutely.
If you'd like to contact DJ Kayla V, details are on our screen.
So these lines go into the mixer.
What's up, Bay Area? This is El Cool Kyle, and I just over here I showed up to help set up the sound. Kayla V's DJing, and they're doing a little special on her and asked me what's special about Kayla V. For me, as an older DJ, seeing the youth come up, you know, you gotta help facilitate that and make it happen because we can't be in the clubs forever. It's unhealthy. And so we booked Kayla V, and I stuck around to make sure the sound was good and everything. The girl was raw. First time I seen her, younger DJ, skills, knew how to actually use the turntables. That in enough says it. You know, like she knew how to use 1200. So Kayla V, if you check her out, you see in the paper, go find her. She'll make you dance.
Well, I came out tonight to support my daughter, Makayla, and initially when she left CBS in LA, I was pretty alarmed, surprised, shocked, but I knew that it was something that she enjoyed doing and it was her passion to actually DJ and be around people and work with music. So since she's been in the Bay Area, you know, she's actually done a great job in working with Scratch and other event coordinators, and is working quite a bit and doing events here, and she's happy doing it. So as long as she's happy and making a little money, I'm happy.
That's great. What's the best advice you ever gave her?
The best advice I've given Makayla and could give her is to be sure and be able to support herself at whatever venture she takes, to not depend on someone else, to make sure that she's able to take care of herself.
Anything you'd like to add about music or about her as a daughter or her growing up? Anything that comes?
Well, Makayla has always been a great daughter. I mean, I've had zero problems with her, and Makayla's the type of daughter that, or even I could say person, that if this is something that she wants to do, she's going to do it. And she's very determined to go about it and do it on her own. She's pretty private, but she gets the job done. So I'm very pleased with her.
Well, came out to support her, and her mom came out, brought me out to bring me along and support her as well. And it's always a good time. Come out and see different places of Oakland and San Francisco, you know, San Jose. So try to get those events in there where we can.
Tell me your thoughts about her as a DJ.
I think she does really good. She puts the crowd into it, got some good music, and does a fantastic job. She's a great person, and she's always working, so I hope she does well.
Kayla V.
Oh, she's amazing.
Why do you say that?
Well, she's very good, and her playlist about African music, I really like it because we mostly are in African restaurants from West Africa, and the music represents what this restaurant represents here in the Bay Area.
It's a new party. It's a very young party, and it's a good vibe. So I love her. I love, you know, our connection, and I love how to start building a good relationship in this party.
Now's the time to get up on that bandwagon because Kayla V is going to get hard to know later on. Cool Kyle said that.
I'm Janice Edwards. We're on location at the Watermark Conference for Women in Silicon Valley, where award-winning actress Viola Davis is the keynote speaker.
Please put your hands together for the phenomenal, awe-inspiring, and the very fine Viola Davis.
But I remember screaming at the top of my lungs. I was so terrified, and I could not stop screaming. And my sister Diane told me to run and just go in the house, stop screaming, everyone's gonna hear you. And I ran in the house, ran into the bathroom, put my hands together, got down on my knees, and I said, God, if you love me at all and if you exist, you would take me away from this life. Just pluck me from it. I'm gonna count to 10. And when I count to 10, when I open my eyes, I wanna be gone. I wanna be away from this world. And I counted to 10. And I really believe this, by the way. I got to 8, and I said 9, 10. Opened my eyes, and I was still there. And I said, yeah, I knew you didn't exist. But he did pluck me. He plucked me in a deeper way than I could possibly imagine. He put people in my life who, not just in my professional life, but my personal life, have brought me every step of the way. Everyone from teachers to therapists to anyone who, once I exposed myself and once I said, I need help, they threw me a rope. My dad didn't have that. My dad, who was born in 1936 and died 25 years working as a groom on a racetrack and a janitor at McDonald's. He died never even loving what he did. But I know that I'm his dream. So he ran his leg of the race as best as he could, and I've picked up the baton and I'm running my leg of the race. And what I say is, if I'm going to say that I'm going to be better than him, then I have to own my mess. I am in a movie right now that is written by a man, and I will leave you with this, who did not write about kings and queens. He wrote about the janitor. He wrote about the groom at the racetrack. August Wilson wrote about my father and my mom. Because I'm standing here to say, owning my story has been very beneficial to me. And I am so blessed to be a part of a movie where this man has uplifted the lives of the ordinary person. The person who's moving through their lives, and once they're gone, you think to yourself, did their lives matter? I mean, I know they're not Katherine Johnson and Mary Jackson and, Dorothy Vaughan, who were just STEM women who put the first rocket in space. I know they're not Medgar Evers or Martin Luther King, but did they matter? Did they live? Did they contribute anything? And here's this man who comes along, August Wilson, who says, yes, they did. They breathed. They lived a life. And as long as you're living a life, you've got a story. And that specific story is what changes the world. You're seeing it now on Facebook, where people don't own their stories. I know of people who don't even like poor people, and I know that they grew up poor because they got free lunch with me. I know people who don't believe in health care, and I know for a fact they make less than $20,000 a year. Own it. That is how you live a life bigger than yourself. You own your story. You're not ashamed of it. You allow it to make yourself vulnerable. Don't worry. All of us are in the mess together. Trust me, we've all done something messed up to our kids. You use this to catapult you forward, and that you understand that by the day you die, you're leaving something on this planet that's bigger than you, that is connected to your story. Please. Because no one wants to feel less alone. And to the young people out here, and I know that there's a great number of you that are looking for inspiration. I always say, because I know what it means to be 16, trust me, I know what it means to be 16. You feel like, who am I? Gawky, or overly confident, but not really. Awkward. What the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls the butterfly. That as soon as you feel like your life is ending, like your hair should have been longer, you should have been skinnier, you should have had more weight, you should have had more boyfriends, you should have got that great car, you should have had a better job, that you are enough. That is my gift to you.
And that's our show. I'm Janice Edwards. Thanks for all that you do to make our Bay Area, our Sacramento area, and our world a better place to be. Please join us again next time. We look forward to seeing you then.